It is now. I don't know why he's got it on.
I've been recording everything you said.
Oh, Lord. Heavy.
But it the things that you tell me.
But then it wasn't important in oh, yeah, that's cold. Yeah. Well, maybe it's feel in. One of them little bitches things like he feeling it on her. Lucky like can you put it inch? Where's the inch at it?
Constantly.
Huh? Really? Sometimes I'd rub it down and make it quit. I caught one there crawling around on here with you.
Something have been the only one sitting there, probably
No?
me.
That was later. Really, I couldn't even put down. Man, I can't get it.
Tell them for.
I'll go in out and sit it.
Would you be more comfortable in there?
Well, I want to stay in here. Okay, just stay here. If you're comfortable there, just stay.
Some of the things like that you told me over the years, you know, about the tale, like when you was like some of the stuff like when you was telling about Grandpa coming back from town. That time and he'd been followed.
Yeah.
That scared him to death.
One person.
And the time the blood spot in that house.
When we look where we live.
Stuff like that. Stuff like that, you know, that's fascinating. And I try and remember to tell my kids, and I can't remember to say my name.
Well, they said it was a haunted house. When we moved in, you know, down there. But they didn't tell it before, well, till after we moved in. But when we moved in, it was a great big, it was silo, you know, concrete inside. In the dining room, there was a great big hole where it looked like either a gun had shot, you know, and there's a knock that concrete all off, you know, great big, you know how it's rough when you knock or something to hit it. And on the floor, there was a spot we don't know what it was, but it had oil on it. That oil, you never could get it up. And we just wondered, after we heard that the house was haunted, and Grandma Eastwood and Grandpa come over one night. I think old Viner, the mule, we had that horse, mule, old Kate Viner, barred, and old Viner got sick. And Grandpa and Grandma come over and stay all night. And it come up a storm. And of course we had our bedroom and another bedroom off. The kitchen was back behind our bedroom, dining room behind where they go. Well, Grandma, she said that the back door was closed and they thought the wind would open the storm. They'd get up and shut it and they wouldn't get going back to bed till the door closed again. And she said finally then they got the pots and pans rattling around in the kitchen. She thought I'd got up to get breakfast and she got up one in there and there wasn't nobody in there. And she said she never heard this carrying on all night of her life. Well, after we moved, I'd hear things at night up in the loft. I thought it was rats. I'd reach over and shake Jack, you know. Time he'd get awake, set up to listen, he'd never hear nothing. He never did hear nothing. Well, when we moved and come up here to Aunt Randy's that fall, Basil and Lorraine, we moved into that house. And Basil, I don't know what he was working at that time, but I don't think he was farming. Or if he was farming anyhow, he would come in late at night, and a lot of night Lorraine would walk and come up to Mr. James. They lived in the next house up this way. Carrying the baby, Ragged gets the, she gets scared, comes to Mr. James, to Basil.
Means there'd be noises in the house? Scared?
I don't know whether Basil ever heard it or not. Well, Aunt Mary went one night, stay all night down to Basil's slowly. And when she come to her daddy's, and there was a bunch of, nobody them days didn't have no telephone, and you don't know who's coming to stay all night. Well, there was a bunch at Nurse Jane used to stay all night, so she went down to Basil, drove the buggy down there, horse and buggy, burned the, I think she had maybe Edith and Betty with her, the two little girls, this little one, so I don't think Edith was much bigger than Betty, or was that big, and Betty was small. And she said, things got so hectic that night, that if she'd had anybody that got up and went and caught her horse, she would have left. Said Lorraine Basil was in there just laying in there snoring up a storm. So I guess maybe the house was haunted, I don't know. But it just wasn't for Jack. I could wake him up just quick as you got awake and just seemed like it was just for certain people to hear. That's it.
Did any men ever hit?
Huh?
Did any men ever hit anything? Just women?
Well, Dad did. Dad and Mom, so Dad get up and go shut the back door, Mom said, and then he wasn't more to get back to bed, just blouse again. And then finally they got the cooking in there, and she got up to go see Daddy. When the money in there, we were still in bed. And then Mary, she told what she did, so I thought, well, maybe Mom was, she just kind of strange place and all, and kind of worried about the horse and all. Maybe she just got upset. Thought she heard them things, but I guess according to Mary and then Lorraine, she heard things, so she leave. They told her it was rats up the low. I don't think they could fence it.
She didn't come back and stay all night,
That's what I thought it was. Mom didn't tell me till after we left her about her and Dad's experience.
Till after you'd already moved out?
Yeah. So I guess she thought, you know, it scared me. She knows that we was raising a crop and they had to be there till it was harvested. So what we did.
Should have paid more attention to Eric when he was showing me how to do all this stuff.
Yeah, like me, I should have paid attention where to put the oil in the car instead of trying to put it down the wrong place. And boys, they laughed at me. I told him I said, check my oil. And he said, oh, you got an oil leak in here. I said, oh, I just spilled some. I tried to put some in it, and I said, I want to see where you put that. He taken the cap off, you know. I said, oh, that's where you put it. I said, I tried to put it down that little stem where you pulled the hog stick out. He just laughed. He said, well, it would go in there, but it'd be awful slow. I said, yeah, but I think I had more on the ground than I had. And they just laughed. We come back from church that night, and Chester said, well, little Malibu's still waiting for you. I said, yeah, I gave him a good oiling today. They laughed at me good.
Yeah, I thought you must have got some oil down on the exhaust manifold because
Well, see, I put a little funnel over that little pipe, you know, and I noticed the funnel went on the outside of the pipe instead of inside. And I tried to pour the oil in there, and I noticed the funnel would fill up, you know, and then directly it'd go out. Well, of course, I looked when I pulled the car out, it's all on the ground. And it just got all over them pipes going down. That boy laughed at me and said, get it out here on 41 and go 90 miles an hour, it'll soon burn off. I said, yeah, 90 miles an hour. He said, don't you drive that fast? I said, huh, if I drive 50, I do well. I think James had it up to 105 one time. Between here and Otten, you know, that's when just knew they told him he'd get over 100 miles an hour, and he didn't believe it. He tried it out down on the straight stretch between here and Otten. He said he got it up to 105.
Well, if anybody was going to try it out and see how fast he'd go, it'd be him.
I told him, well, you need to never worry. I said, I won't go over speed limit.
I'll tell Jeff about the time Grandpa was getting followed home. About the hanging corner and everything. Jeff, you gotta hear this.
On the Christmas time, he left town after groceries, you know. He put his groceries in a tote sack and had them on his back. People didn't have no way of walking, only walked them days. It was cold in winter time. He always carried his pistol, you know, buckled around his waist. And he got way over there on the creek going out towards Jim's house, where we're back down the field where Jim lives over there. And he kept hearing somebody following him, walking, you know, behind him. So we got down across that bridge there, he eased his sack off of his back, turned around, got on his knee and pulled his pistol out. Of course, the moonlight shining and glistened on that pistol, you know. When he pulled it out, it was a silver pistol anyhow. I imagine the light picked up. He said that man never did follow him no further. He must have seen that pistol, knowed he was back there too, and knowed he was caught.
Tell you what, that wasn't the one I was thinking of. The one I was thinking of was Grandpa was coming. My grandpa was coming from town, and
oh, the corduroy breeches. He used to go right around up here. Of course, the road used to come down in front of our house here, and went on out around there and around Bridgefield, went across Bridgefield, and around up there way up yonder at the corner. As you turn out to go out, and they come out over there by them trailers by Edith Ivan's. And they called it a hanging corner up here. People had seen things, you know, when people drive buggies, you know, they sell wild hog and get under their buggy, you know, and they couldn't get it out. And Grandpa started town, or coming from town, I don't know which it was one night. He used to work at the Red Front, you know, and it'd be 10, 11 o'clock before he'd get off. Them days they had stores open late. And he's coming home, and he said he had on corduroy pants, you know. But he kept hearing something, you know, like somebody walking behind him. He said, faster he'd walk, faster they'd walk. Faster he'd walk, faster they'd walk. He said, finally he just stopped, and they'd stop. And he come find out it was his corduroy breeches rubbing together, you know. Sound just like somebody following him. He said he'd even scared himself after that.
Every time I think about that, I can see that happen, because I remember when I was a kid, I'd have a new pair of corduroy pants, you know, and them, when you walk the corduroy brushing against each other, just made that shuffle
like a racket, all right. But now, they said that, they called it the hanging corner up there. It was, it's in a deep cut, you know, I don't know. You went straight around the sawmill and got to a corner, and you turned up to Mr. Sellers and went, and then you turned right back and went towards Edith and Ivan. And Uncle Warren said one night he was coming out town with somebody, and I believe they was in the buggy. And Said this old hog kept running under the buggy wheels, you know, and running under his horse. And said he wore a good coat out, hitting it that hog to get it out from under the buggy. Said every time he hit it, he'd hit the ground. Wasn't no hog there. But it's there, he could see it when he hit at it. Well, when he hit it, his coat would hit the ground. Said he just wore a tail in off his coat. Trying to look that hog out. So they said they'd seen a woman, Miss Donahoo, Jack's mother. They used to live over here at that house, you know, where it used to be Noble Ashby's. Benson's bought it, you know, they call it the Red Barn, you know, where them barns is painted red over here. She used to live down there when she was a girl, and they told about seeing a woman, you know, floating, you know, in the air with no head. And she was, Jack's mother wasn't afraid of those scratch. She'd go out and sit on the rail fence at night, you know, watching. Said she wanted to see her. She never did get to see her. She said, it's just not the first time people said, if you want to see something, you can't see it. The ones that don't want to see it always see it. But she never did get to see it. She said she sat on that rail fence many nights watching for that woman. But she never did get to see her. And other people would come just be driving along, you know, and see her. She said, well, it's just one for some people to see.
They used to be there all kinds of stuff.
I know.
You know, and you'd hear about all kinds of things like that and anymore.
A lot of witchcraft going on back in them days, too. People turn themselves into a deer or a squirrel, you know, and go to the woods. These here, well, they call them witches. Would turn themselves into a deer or a squirrel and go to the woods, you know, and just aggravate the men, you know. Of course, when they'd shoot, they'd be somewhere else. And they could kill them. Only way they could kill them would be, you know, to melt a silver dime down and make a bullet out of silver. Would be the only way. So they did that one time, and this girl turned herself into a pretty deer and running around through the woods. She got her come up with her arm broke. She got shot in the arm.
Huh. Was that around here?
During this time, that's what they call it happened around here. When things like that was here in the world. Of course, things as time went on, the way I understand the Bible, things went on way back there. There was giants here when, you know, different things happening. And that was just something, there was a lot of witchcraft going on at that time. And Dad said, well, he remembers things like this. Back then, of course, he'd been 100 some years old now. But that was been way back there in the 80s something. See, Jack was born 1889. Dad was older than him. He'd been in probably in the 1800s though. And the witches were still here. Jack said he remembered when the man lived down here close to them, that he could make a table get up and walk. People now, there's people here in Sebree that practice witchcraft.
My mom knows a lady that her daughter, once she was babysitting Eric on Rob, and they said that she moved her back without even touching it. That's kind of scary.
That's why I said Dad used to tell some of the, we didn't have to have TV, he'd tell some of the outdoor stories, you know, about when the wild beasts is your how they'd get out, you know, and have to do it. See, there was tigers and bears up here in these woods when they was growing up. And his forefathers, he told about Uncle Joe and Uncle Bob, I believe it was. They go across the river somewhere over there, and I don't know what it was, whether it was a salt well, but they go over there and boil, take these big kettles, you know, like we used to have to render lard and stuff in, and boil water down and to make salt.
Yeah.
and I don't know whereabouts it was, but it's across the river. And said, I think I just wanted, they said Uncle Joe or Uncle Bob one lived out here close to town out there, maybe where Ashley's house was or somewhere. And he's been gone a week, boiling that water or whatever it was they buzzed to make salt. And he started home carrying his, I think they said he either had 100 pounds of salt or 50 pounds, I don't know which it was. What he worked on all week. And I think they said it was a panther or a tiger one that got after him coming home. And after he got up on the hill, you know, after he left the river. And I don't know, he first, I think, throwed his hat down, you know, and of course, he had his, the scent of him was on his hat. And whatever it was that's bothering him stopped, you know, and that give him time to get on further. And he just dropped one piece of clothing at a time, you know, to keep him busy. And when he got way over here towards the hanging corner, though he's close to him, the house might not have been the same house. But his wife heard him, you know, holler. And the dogs left him, went home and went in the house. And she lit what she called a torch. I think they had rags tied on a stick, and I don't know what they had it dipped in, but they'd light them, and she come across the field carrying that torch and met him, and kept that thing up right until he got home. Our old people back then, they had hard ways, and they learned the hard ways. But what they learned, they know and know how to use it.
They were, back then they were smart enough to get by, they got by. If they wasn't smart enough to get by, they just didn't make it. And you figure, your dad was born in what? What year was your dad born?
Well, back in 1800 sometime, back in here.
How old was he when he died?
He was 86.
And what year did he die in?
61.
61 from 86 is 25. He was born in 1875. Make him 1875. So you figure that was 15 years. Your dad was born about 10 years after the Civil War.
Oh, he'd tell so much. I'm like you used to. See, as a kid, it just wasn't in one ear and out the other. But a lot of people, old people, I've heard him talk about people, and people come to me now and want to know, do you know where they're buried or where they lived or something? I said, I remember the name. I remember hearing my dad talk about them, but I couldn't tell you. It just went in one ear and out the other, because it's people that I didn't know, and it just didn't ring a bell. But now then, I wish I'd listened. But then we go good now. It's done gone. It just went in one ear and out the other.
That's like, think about how this area had to be. Well, how you know how it was when you was a young kid growing up, and then how it was, because there were still Indians and stuff in this part of the country when your mother and father were here, weren't they?
I imagine Dad's grandmother or great-grandmother was a full-blooded squaw. Well, that house over there where our old home house place, you know, the Indians carried one, you see, when they had raised a house, they called it a house racing, you know. they cut the logs and notched them and everything, and then there'd be so many at each corner, you know, and they'd carry each corner, 4 corners all up at one time. And there was enough Indians here, the Indians carried one end of that house. The logs that built that house over there where I was born and raised. So there must have been some here around that time.
See now, was your dad from around here? Was he born and raised right around here? Where was his dad from?
I don't know what nationality they was. The old home place stood right over there. Fred had his doors off. Well, Beulah's house was built out of part of Grandpa's old home place.
Your grandfather?
Ray Sellers tore, when they had the house tore down, Ray Sellers tore it down for the lumber that was in it. And of course he didn't want the logs and all, for it had them dozed off and tore down. And he took the lumber out of that house and he built Lawrence Husk a new house at Slaughter's, and out of what is left over from Lawrence's new house and Grandpa's old house, built Beulah's house. Of course, they'd had a basement dug and another room added, and a kitchen. It was just, well, her kitchen was just up to the, you know, where her snack bar is. That's how big her kitchen was at that time. And they had from there back, and then that other room built on behind. The basement dug and that other room built on after they got it. But the front part of that house and all was out of part of Grandpa East. Mom could have bought that house one time, $2,000. Ray's wife, Goldie, ain't out his girl, married Ray Sellers, and after he built it, Goldie wanted to sell it to Mom. Mom said, I don't know if that house that built out of that old lumber come out of Pap's house. It's done. All rot. But it wasn't because it's salt timber, you know, it's probably...
Better want the front part of the probably better shape than the rest.
It's scrapped up because there's 2 or 3 boys that went and done sheetrock that was put in. They said they couldn't find 2 floors to nail sheetrock to. One, that Wright boy told us that best thing to do is just take bulldozer out here and doze it off out here and just build him one. But they just kept adding on. So now they got it bricked. I guess maybe it was having a pretty good storm. They're like we was, but listen, they've been out a whole lot of money on it.
It's falling.
I think Dad built this one, well, of course, not counting the logs that they cut, sawed, you know, that he was out $2,000 for all money. The floor and the doors, windows, and the roof was cost more. And of course, they put a tin roof on it when he first built it. I think it's $2,000 for he was out to build this. Well, we've been adding on. Whew, got a lot tied up in it. It started out as just weatherboarded, sealed, weatherboarded, and sealed, boxed, and weatherboarded. Then we sheetrocked, and it was papered on the inside, and then we sheetrocked, and then we paneled, and then they put siding on the outside, and now they got more siding on the outside. Boy, you can't even car drive up out there, you think yours. And you got it, especially if the doors are shut. And it made a difference. I don't know whether we had a milder winter or whether my light bill was less. I think the biggest ant or the biggest spider I ever saw running that stove. There you go. What is it? What's that? What is it? You get a bug, you bite you. Kill him. You throw him down the stick and pour hot water on him. He ain't got no business being here. Here.
That sounds like fun killing a monkey.
Kill him.
Get it all hot first.
What is he doing?
Beetle.
A beetle? What kind of beetle?
Who knows?
Wash your hands on that. Here, that's hot water.
You want to tell that?
Here, here's one. I had one. I thought, what'd I do with it when I... Or I thought I had one. Maybe I didn't. I see that thing right across there. He looked Mickey Guinness. What he was, he was going so fast. Where'd that thing come from? Don't know how he got in.
Well, we've been fanning the door so much today, probably just walked.
Well, I don't know. Ticks on the outside, bugs on the inside. Didn't that alcohol make them quit eating? Didn't that alcohol make them spots quit eating?
I don't think it's not poison ivy.
I don't think it's poison ivy. It's just got fleas.
I don't know. Christopher has fleas. They can found them all. But she has.
Angel's just ticky is what it is. Always coming.
I can't get up.
He's coming down here and Jeff says, no, he says, can't wait to get to Grandma's house. I said, why's that? He says, ain't no girls here. He says, we're going to get to sleep on the feather bed. I said, what do you mean? I said, we'll probably sleep downstairs. He says, well, darn. He said, the girls always got to sleep in the feather bed, the boys always had to sleep on the other bed. He says, it was so hard compared to that feather bed. He said, that just wasn't fair.
Feathers is hot. Feathers is hot. That's what Randy always said, though. He always, in his bed, Beulah moved his bedroom out here with the we kept him in it, and I had a feather bed on it. He was a boy, he'd get snuggled down in them with good old warm feathers. He didn't want to get out every morning. Of course, Beulah would come in and work, but I'd always have him up and ready to go to school, you know. And she'd come, Grandpa would, he'd go feed, and he'd come in, his hands would be cold, you know. He'd come in and he'd say, ain't that boy got up yet? And I said, no. I said, get breakfast. He'd go in there and he said, here comes the old bear, and he'd get to rolling, you know. He'd go to the foot of the bed and start in with his cold hands, you know. Wouldn't be long, you'd see Randy crawling out over the top of the pillow. He said he still remembers that. He said, he'll never forget Grandpa playing bear with him, getting out of bed.
I remember one time Grandpa coming in, he said, now this is what happens to a boy when he's bad. And he pulled up his britches leg and a horse bit him. And see where the horse just stomped down on his leg and it was black and blue. I remember that plain. It's funny how stuff like that just kind of sticks in your mind.
Yeah, just something. All of a sudden, I don't know why, just certain things stick in your mind that you'll remember.
All things stick in your mind, but the things you want to remember don't.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth?
You're the wise one.